I can still feel the butterflies of getting up in front of colleagues and peers who I knew were much more knowledgeable than I was, but having the opportunity to present new and exciting and cutting-edge research at the time, it was a very exciting development in my career to be able to do that.
I first joined the USCAP when I was a junior resident almost 15 years ago. And every year, the annual meeting is really the highlight of my academic time. I love meeting my colleagues and learning about what everyone's doing in their translational and clinical research.
That's what the annual meeting does for most people, is that it brings excitement. There is a sense that there are literally stars walking amongst us.
The first time I presented at USCAP, I was so nervous, and I was presenting at the gynecologic pathology session, and I had back-to-back platform presentations, and afterwards I sat down, and I had no idea, but it was Dr. Young who was sitting next to me, and he leaned over and he said, "Those were brilliant presentations." And for the rest of the conference, I was just flying high that I got that sort of accolade from such a grand giant of pathology.
It's an incredible opportunity for networking with our colleagues, people that we haven't seen for years, some of our former trainees, colleagues who may be thousands of miles away. We get to interact with them at the meetings, catch up on what's been happening, and also get feedback on what's happening in the field from our colleagues and some of the challenges which they face.
My most personally cherished memory of my experience with USCAP right from the beginning as a trainee, attending the meeting and participating in the poster and platform presentations, and feeling that the experts in the field were there to encourage me to continue my work and guiding me in direction in which I should proceed with the work I had done.
When I look back on all the years that I've spent at USCAP, there's one moment that really shines through. I was probably a second or third year out in practice, and I was at a USCAP meeting, and I saw Sharon Weiss from afar, and I had met her one other time when I was in training and she'd come to Stanford to speak. She saw me and waved and came over and gave me a huge hug. And I was just in awe and shock that, one, she remembered me, and two, with all these people clamoring to get her attention, she came over to say hello to little old me. And that really stuck with me, and I realized if it meant that much to me, that one day, if I was ever fortunate to be in her shoes, I would definitely be the same way to the younger people.
USCAP is the gold standard for education in pathology because it gets the best teachers. I was involved in the education committee for 14 years or so I know as well as anybody just how competitive it is to have the honor to teach at USCAP. And when you have that kind of competition, it allows you the opportunity to pick the best teachers. And I think that that's really the reason why. It's the faculty.
They are the cutting edge of education for pathologists. They're the largest organization in the world for pathologists, where we all come together and we share information. We are able to vet new research that we're doing, and we also educate one another. It's a great venue for that.
I have been attending USCAP courses and USCAP meetings, annual meeting especially, since I was second-year resident. I have enjoyed annual meetings immensely. That's where we present our most important research, share our thoughts and findings with our esteemed colleagues.
USCAP, in terms of my career development, has been everything. I can't imagine anything about my professional career without USCAP.
I would tell a first-year resident that they should join the USCAP and go to as many meetings as possible, because that's where they're going to meet people from around the world and meet like-minded thinkers that have an interest in an area they may have an interest in. It networks for future job offerings and for future research collaborations.
It's a huge honor to be invited to be a speaker at the USCAP meeting, to be a moderator of one of the platform sessions, to have a short course proposal accepted.
The USCAP is unique in that they do pair the educational offerings with the research and the innovative new ideas in a way that I don't think other pathology organizations have really done.
Where would I be in my career if I hadn't been involved with USCAP. Probably not the same place I am today. I mean, it's been an enormous part of the stepping stone of my career.
I went to the meeting and I had the opportunity to present in front of an audience of all the experts. It was such a powerful experience for me. It really changed my whole attitude toward academic pathology.
The USCAP has had a tremendous impact on my personal career. It has provided a platform and a venue for my personal education and growth, and a platform and a venue for me to be able to present my research, very early research, in an international platform.
I've been very lucky in my career to have excellent mentors along the way. As a resident, I was influenced by Dr. Celeste Powers to go into cytology, and she really nurtured my interest and my abilities. And I feel like now I'm able to pass that along, and I'm able to mentor colleagues, trainees, fellows, and even some of my clinical colleagues to provide better patient care.
I first got involved in the USCAP, and I met other pathologists. I met cytopathologists, Dr. Powers, Dr. Sebas, and meeting these individuals who were so, they loved their career, they loved their research. It really encouraged me to sort of follow them as role models.
When I did my fellowship at MCV, Celeste Powers was the quintessential mentor. There were more opportunities than a fellow could even handle. And I think what I love about USCAP is that same philosophy of mentorship has been pervasive.
There's just no replacing face-to-face interaction, and that's what makes the USCAP so valuable. It does provide that venue for people to come together, to think together, to be together, to share a glass of wine together, to network. I feel excited. I look forward to going to the meeting every year because I know I'm going to see people every meeting from around the world, friends that I often don't see except at the USCAP, and I look forward to that every year.
There's really a palpable feeling of excitement when you first arrive at the meeting and walking around the halls, running into a colleague you haven't seen since the previous year, and it's just such an incredibly powerful, invigorating experience.
I have been going to the USCAP meeting every year since 1991. It's where I connect with my colleagues, my, former trainees, my mentors. It's, where we feel like this is, the home of my training.
It's the home of academic surgical pathology. It's where you go see your friends. It's where you go and learn new things in pathology. It's where you go and present your new findings of your own. It's where you go and listen to your colleagues present stuff, including trainees. I love to hear the trainees presenting in the platform sessions.
I really look forward to the next 5 years. I think that we have the opportunity to use many new technologies to teach, expanding by ways I can't even imagine at this point.
USCAP is the ultimate source of education in anatomic pathology, but in pathology in general, molecular and anatomic pathology. And in order to continue this mission successfully, especially digital education and digital means of delivering education will have to be a part of USCAP, and I think that will advance our reach to not only perhaps North America, but other parts of the world much more effectively.
My vision for next generation learning through USCAP involves more clinical interaction, more of an active clinical role for pathologists, and enabling our membership to take on that role.
If I could think about where the Academy would be 5 years from now, I think that continuing along the same trajectory that we have been doing is a wonderful thing. I think reaching out to community pathologists a little bit more, ensuring that trainees who are engaged maintain their involvement in the Academy. And I think having a greater global outreach would be important.
Using, next generation sequencing technologies, we're making discoveries in the hematopoietic realm that's going to make day-to-day changes how we treat patients. And the USCAP is another forum for the hematopathologists out in the community and academics to get updated on the discoveries that are being made at such a fast pace.
In next generation learning, I think our major challenge is trying to match competency to the individual practice of a pathologist, in giving that the tools for that competency and then also measuring for the competency as we go forward.
With the ancillary testing of molecular diagnostics, the pathologist will be even more critical and more central to the care of the patient than the pathologist has traditionally been in the past. I think everyone will be even more aware of how important our diagnostic and prognostic and potentially therapeutic information will be to the patient. I still think molecular and genetic testing will be viewed as ancillary diagnostic tests. I still think it comes down to what you see under a microscope.
The USCAP is unique in that they do pair the educational offerings with the research and the innovative new ideas in a way that I don't think other pathology organizations have really done. So it doesn't just offer you what you want and need, it offers you a better version of what you want and need, and it evolves, because what you want and need may be very different 2 years from now or 5 years from now. And the USCAP keeps up with that and is constantly changing to meet new demands of new people.
You can't look at any videos, the TV, or any journals without seeing the term patient-centered therapy. And we're seeing so much of targeted therapy based on small tissue samples.
With the increasing demand for genomics and personalized medicine, we've actually seen an increase in requests for fine needle aspiration biopsies, which are paired with core biopsies, and we read both of those samples.
Thyroid fine needle aspiration in my practice can be very different from what a community practitioner experiences, and it's really tremendously valuable to hear their feedback about some of the challenges that they face in their practice settings.
We talk a lot about personalized medicine, and there are so many facets to that. But in order to understand what personalized medicine is, we have to start with personalized education.
I think that it's important for us all to support the foundation so that the USCAP can continue its mission in education, patient advocacy, and research support.
Our mission is global, it should be global, and I think the foundation is a key mechanism to do that.
It provides money for young investigators to start pilot projects that make them much more competitive for that dwindling NIH dollar. It provides scholarships for people who want to attend the meeting but yet may not be able to afford to on a resident salary.
There are many opportunities for the USCAP Foundation to become involved with developing molecular pathology both in America and around the world.
One of the roles of a professional is to not only deliver service, not only do the research, but to make sure that the profession can continue to renew itself both in existing members and going forward. The USCAP Foundation gives us another tool to do that for Canadians and Americans.
So the G20 Scholarship Program, which was implemented this year, has been a wonderful way to reach out globally to trainees in pathology in underserved communities and enable them to attend the annual meeting here.
When I found out about that I won the scholarship, I was ecstatic. In fact, I couldn't actually believe it. My mentor told me to submit an abstract, which I did, and to hope for the best. And it was accepted. And then we heard that we could apply for the scholarship. And then after application, I got a mail that I was a recipient of scholarship. You can't imagine how happy I was, because it really went a long way into bringing me here in terms of the costs.
So we exposed to new work, new research, new experience. Of course, it's very educational.
When I heard about the scholarship, I was really excited. Strangely enough, I had actually thought that I would like to attend a USCAP meeting. So in my head, I'd said, by around 2016 or 2017, I'll have saved up enough to bring myself for this. So my target was next year but one, to kind of save it up and then attend it. And then it so happened that someone I knew sent me an email and said, there's a scholarship you could try out. So I didn't think I'd get it, but it was exciting.
The motto that we use is based on a book by David Ellerman, and the title is Helping People to Help Themselves. And our job is to, in a global coordinated manner, help people help themselves, not tell them to be like us.
My perspective on the global outreach of USCAP is really the making the knowledge that we have and our expertise available to our pathology colleagues around the world.
What we're looking at is a global development in coordinated and cooperative activity.
I think the public has a misperception about pathologists from TV shows and from the old literature that pathologists don't interact directly with living patients. And the fact of the matter is that they do, and they have been for many years. But that's only going to increase, because as we get more and more involved in trying to follow a disease, not just at the time of diagnosis, but to obtain tissue and to analyze that tissue so that we can follow the progress of that disease and the effects of our therapy, pathologists are going to have more and more direct contact with patients. And I'm hoping that that will improve the perception and help people appreciate better the importance of pathologists to the totality of clinical care. And you know, in many ways, things come full circle. When my father was starting his pathology practice, he actually performed the bone marrow biopsies. He actually did needle biopsies of the liver. Those have slipped into other specialties now. So I think it's just a matter of us living the circle of our professions.
Most of what I learned actually through USCAP courses and lectures and presentations, it makes me a much better pathologist, and most important developments in our field are presented in this annual meeting.
The exposure to cutting-edge translational research and gold standard education is creating a better pathologist.
One of the major missions of USCAP is education, but the outcome of that is creating a better pathologist.
I think the relationship between creating a better pathologist and the outcome of being a better pathologist is attending the meeting and learning from the best faculty in the world. The USCAP is creating a better pathologist.
At USCAP, we are creating a better pathologist.
The USCAP is creating a better pathologist.
USCAP is creating a better pathologist.
The USCAP is creating a better pathologist.